I was brought up in a vicarage. My dad went to theological college when I was 18 months. And that's all I've known.
Yeah.
And my school, I was in school as the vicar's daughter, which was hard at times, I'll admit, but quite good at the same time. So yeah.
I was completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. My parents were Christians, but we didn't particularly go to church very often. We'd occasionally go to Sunday school. The only thing I really remember is my mum reading me the Lord's Prayer every evening. From then, I didn't have any contact with church, really, from the age of about 5 or 6 up till I was about 20, 21. So didn't have any contact at all. In fact, there was a period where I completely denied all knowledge of God.
What about you, Hannah? I mean, you've been steeped in church life.
Yeah, I have.
Was there faith in you at that stage? Was it your own, or were you just doing it because of the family? You know, how did it progress?
I think because it was normal. It was so normal. I just went with it.
Yeah.
But as time went on, the faith was coming. I could feel it coming. And then when I started working, that's when I felt the need to go to church to find him myself.
Yeah.
And after quite a few job changes, I managed to get to go to church on a Sunday, and it carried on from there. I went to see my vicar. I needed to. I felt the need to, so I went to see her. It was on Good Friday, but I went to see her, and we started chatting. She was like, "You should come to church again, Han." And it took me, I would say, 6 months to get to the church in the evening. And then about 3 months after that, it was, I think I better go to the Eucharist in the morning. So I did. And then a few months after that, I was made church warden, rector's warden.
How did that happen?
I don't know. It just happened. Marianne was new to the parish, and both of the wardens said that they were going to give her a year and then retire. So she knew it was coming up. And then she asked me, which I said no first. And then I thought I'd better pray about this. So I did. Being in full-time work, it was going to be a lot. And then the day after I prayed about it, my hours got cut in work. So I thought, maybe somebody's trying to say, no, you can do this, I'm giving you time now.
And we've got a baptism that's been booked in for 12 o'clock that day, Han. So if you can hang fire,
Yeah,
we'll clear as quickly as we can and get set up for that baptism then, okay? So Mum's all booked in, got all the information for that. Okay.
Coffee after the service as usual.
Yes, please. Yeah, yes, please. We should have somebody down on rota, so if you can check, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
What did you learn in being warden?
Patience. You need patience. You also need to see things from other people's point of view. And then trying to understand that to be able to help them in where the church is going. I also set up on a Saturday evening for Sunday worship. So I get a little bit of time on my own in church whilst there's nobody else there. So I can offer to God what I need to before the busyness of a Sunday morning.
Yeah. That's really important sometimes. I find that you're so busy trying to prepare for Sunday morning, whether you're leading worship or just setting the church up or anything. You just spend so much time running around after everybody else, and then you need to take that step back and try and
just have that connection.
Yeah.
What was it that changed in your life, Sophie? Because you went from having this kind of interest in theology and feeling drawn to feeling that something more. How did that happen?
I went to an Alpha course not long after having finished my course of 6 months at NAT BCP Eucharist, and that was a really good starting point for me. I hadn't had any particular, although I had an interest in theology and the Bible, I didn't have any particular Christian background. So it was quite important for me to get to grips with what other people did as Christians, but it was not long, really, after having been going to church that people started asking me, would you consider being a lay pastoral assistant? So I trained, I think it was about 12 months or so after I'd started going to church, I trained as a lay pastoral assistant, and I started visiting people, bereaved, sometimes, if someone needed someone to talk to, just to be there, I would just be there. And so I started doing that. I was also on PCCs and team councils and that sort of thing as well. Andy helped me a huge amount, and although, as my husband, although he says he doesn't believe in God, although I'm not so sure about that now, but he said that he doesn't believe in God. He helped me a huge amount. He was that angel that was there.
Yeah.
Kept
Same with
looking
mine,
at
actually. My husband's exactly the same.
My family has always supported me, whatever, but Andy's sort of came in and has put up with an awful lot from me, actually, and has still stayed there and helped me get through that bad time and all of the other stuff that had gone on. It was probably about, 4 years ago, no, it must be longer than that, 5 years ago now, the Salisbury Diocese started doing a lay worship leaders pilot scheme. So we were training to be worship leaders within, and there was a discernment process similar to the discernment process we're going through now, but it was sort of on a local scale. So the team councils discerned people within their teams that they felt would be good worship leaders, and my name came up. I don't know why. Still don't know why. Crazy people. But yes. So I agreed to do this 10-week training course and to become a worship leader. And my confidence standing in front of a group of people was rock bottom. It scared the living daylights out of me, to be honest with you. I was never very good at standing in front of people. But I did lots of it. I started off by doing, helping by doing intercessions or doing this, that, and the other, and then started adding bits. And then eventually he asked me to take a whole service. And so slowly we built it up, and that was a really good way of doing it.
May we reconcile to you through him who died for us and rose again and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
And one Easter, we did a whole week, and we had an Easter vigil, and I was sat at the Easter vigil, and I sat in the seat, and I looking at the cross, and I just cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I may start crying in a minute. So, and I just remember thinking, God, I think you're actually calling me to something else, but I have no idea why. And I, everything that I've done in my past, how could you possibly want me?
Isn't it interesting that both of you, it was Easter?
Eating your hair now. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to chip in, Hannah. For both of you, it was Easter.
It was Easter. It was Easter for both of us. Because sitting in Marianne's study, I didn't go there to find God necessarily, but He was there.
Your paths converged at the Fellowship of Vocation weekend.
I had not heard about the Fellowship of Vocation weekend until about 3 days before, and it was at that point that I thought, God's definitely saying, you need to pull your finger out now. You need to go and at least try and make an effort somewhere along the lines. So I went to the fellowship weekend with an open mind, thinking that perhaps I'd got I still wasn't totally convinced at that point that I was even on the right track. I wasn't. So yeah, I needed that weekend to just reaffirm in my head what I was thinking, what my calling was.
Yeah. And it was actually quite comforting, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a comforting weekend. We were surrounded by people who were like-minded.
Yeah.
From all sorts of walks of life.
There's something about a reassurance that actually you're not the only person on the planet that's had these exact same feelings.
Exactly.
It's very, to start with, it's quite a sort of, you do question, you shouldn't do, but you question God. Are you sure, God, actually, that you want me? Because I'm not totally convinced you've got this right.
Yeah. And I'm going to try and
everybody's going through the Fellowship of Vocation Weekend was just that, though. It was that confirmation that actually everybody had exactly the same feelings.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to have that. And you and I have had similar experiences in the past, so that was good that we could talk that through.
Yeah, exactly.
What's been the high point of what you've been doing so far?
Being church warden.
Yeah.
Being asked to be church warden was an honour.
Yeah.
And then doing it, being church warden, being approachable to others within the church is really comforting. And it's nice because I feel like I'm helping people understand different parts that they may not understand.
I think the high point has probably been, I've been asked to be the youth and children's coordinator within the group, and it's just given me huge scope to be able to do stuff with children and do different types of services. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. We've started the service called The Word. Here. I think everybody who's here today was here last time, so you'll kind of know what it's about. The highlight has to have been seeing these three girls and the existing congregation, which, as is typical at the moment of congregation, slightly more mature than myself, worshipping together. I had 50, 60, 70-year-olds doing Our God is a Great Big God. Big God, our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He is higher than a skyscraper, and He's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe, and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's known me, and He's loved me since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan.
Yeah. It's a bit of an amazing plan as well, isn't it?
Yeah.